right, let's go to the NFC South. So I'll say it on the front end, and I don't want to sound mean because I like this fan base. I do. This is not like the Browns. I like this fan base. This is going to be the worst team in football this year. In part because the roster's bad, and in part, it is the coaching staff from hell, the New Orleans Saints. They will win 2 games this year. 2 games, 2-15. They'll have the number 1 pick in the 2026 NFL draft, and they'll draft Arch Manning, Cade Klubnik, Lenore Sellers, whoever the top quarterback in next year's class. There's plenty of good ones, so good news, Saints fans, in that regard. Listen, I mentioned coaching staff from hell. Okay, Kellen Moore is their head coach. Kellen Moore's not a good OC. Kellen Moore left the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott had the best season of his career. Went to the Chargers. Justin Herbert had the worst season of his career. You say, well, Bryson, he went to Philadelphia and they won the Super Bowl. Yes, congratulations. He had a roster that features a top 10 quarterback, the second best wide receiver duo, the best running back, best offensive line, top 5 tight end. Man, it's hard to screw that up. It doesn't exactly have that in New Orleans. And defensively, you know who their defensive coordinator is? The man who all Chargers fans despise, Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley is going to run that defense in New Orleans. So you've got one of the worst offensive coaches in the National Football League, who's, I assume, going to call plays in New Orleans as well. And then one of the worst defensive coaches in the NFL running the opposite side of the ball. It's going to be a disaster. Spencer Rattler is going to start week 1. I was not a fan of the Tyler Shogue pick in the draft. I would have just waited till a year from now to take a quarterback, which I think is what the Saints are going to be forced into doing. My man, Alvin Kamara, go Vols. Shout out to a Tennessee guy. I hope they end up moving him to a real contender because I want to see AK competing in some big playoff games. The Saints will be awful this year. They will finish in last place in not just the NFC South, but in the NFL. They'll be awful. In third place, I really, really, really wanted to elevate them a little bit higher because I like their head coach and I've backed their quarterback when few have. The Carolina Panthers. They'll go 7-10. Like, again, it's not anything to write home about. The Ted McMillan pick was very much okay, Bryce Young, brutal rookie season, awful start to year 2, but then comes in second half of the year, plays really well. Takes Mahomes and the Chiefs down the wire. He beats Michael Penix Jr. in Atlanta. Had some good wins last year. Almost beat Baker Mayfield and the Bucks. Like, there were some good moments for Bryce. He saw the pocket well. Almost went to Philadelphia and won. Again, the size advantages obviously hurt him. There's no question. He's 5'9". He's skinny. That's going to hurt him. But adding Ted McMillan, Chuba Hubbard is a really, really good running back. Carolina's offensive line has been improving over the last couple of years. So, like, you see the improvements from Carolina. Dave Canales is a really, really smart offensive coach, so I like that. They moved Adam Thielen today back to Minnesota, so good for him. He goes back to his hometown team. For Carolina, buying into the young guys. I like Bryce. Listen, nothing. As somebody who said, listen, Bryce isn't CJ Stroud, but folks acting like he's awful. He's not as bad as what was shown on tape last year at the beginning of the season. I believed that. He came back in, played well. Nothing would make me happier for Bryce Young, for the Carolina Panthers, and for their fans than to shock the world, go full on, Washington Commanders last year and get into the postseason. I really like Bryce. I really like Dave Canales. They'll be a respectable 7-10 and still try and build on to what they have on that roster. And they will not draft a quarterback in 2026 because they'll have seen enough from Bryce, enough improvement to say, we're going to roll with the guy who we gave up a lot of assets to get in 2023. In that number 2 spot, and barely missing the playoffs, losing out on some tiebreakers, the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to go 10-7. So, listen, there were a lot of folks that were critical of drafting 2 pass rushers, particularly of trading up to draft James Pierce in the first round. Based on what James Pierce has shown in the preseason and in camp, listen, a lot of what I saw with my man James Pierce in Tennessee, oh my gosh, the speed blows you away, all of it. It's a work ethic thing that's going to be kind of something for him and for the Atlanta Falcons to work through. But Raheem Morris is a defensive coach, so that's an advantage for them. Offensively speaking, listen, I said before that 2024 draft, I may end up being wrong before this is all said and done, but I loved him coming out of Washington. Michael Penix Jr. doesn't move great, but the arm strength is solid. The accuracy is off the charts. The poise is good. We only saw limited action from Penix in the last few games of last year, but I love what I saw from him, almost beating Washington on the road in Week 17 in a standalone Sunday Night Football game. And then, again, it took Bryce and the Panthers overtime to beat Atlanta in Week 18 to deny Atlanta the playoffs. You still got good weapons. Drake London, Kyle Pitts showed flashes of what a lot of folks were hoping he'd be, their fantasy darling when he came into the NFL back in 2021. You still got an excellent running back in Bijan Robinson. Like, this will be, in my opinion, the Falcons will be the best team in football to miss the playoffs, which they will barely miss out on, and obviously come a game short of the NFC South champion, which for the 5th consecutive year will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So listen, I think their defense is fine. I think Baker's about to have one of the better quarterback seasons we've had in some time. I think he's going to be an MVP candidate. Look at the weapons. Mike Evans is still awesome. He's looking to break Jerry Rice's record for the most consecutive 1,000-yard seasons to start a career. I think he's going to break it. Chris Godwin coming back from injury. Kate Otten, excellent tight end. By the way, just as a nice sort of security blanket is the wrong way to put it, because in large part, this is the start and finish for the offense. But they've got an excellent running game as well. In Tampa Bay. The O-line has been blowing folks away at camp, and they added Emeka Egbuka. So, like, the receiving core is loaded. The backfield is excellent. Baker Mayfield, the last couple of years, has been awesome. He threw 41 touchdowns last season. Clearly a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. My only concern is the fact that, okay, this is a third straight different offensive coordinator for Baker and for the Bucs. I get that, but I still like what I see. I think Baker's going to ball out this season, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will go 11-6, win the division for the 5th consecutive year, make the playoffs for the 6th consecutive season. So shout out to Baker, shout out to Tampa Bay. Yeah, Guido's laughing at that last comment. He said, I covered Tyler Shogue at Texas Tech, and I never once thought of him as an NFL quarterback. Tech fans were begging for Baron Morton to start over Shogue when Morton was a freshman. And the fact that he had to transfer multiple times. He had to play 5, 6, I think, did he play like 7 years in college football? It felt like it because of he got the COVID year and then some injuries. There's nothing to like about the New Orleans Saints this year. I think they're clearly the worst team in football. And I think that they should dismantle that coaching staff ASAP. I know they're in cap hell for some reason, trying to maintain the roster they had after Breeze retired. That's their own fault for putting themselves in that position, but I think it's safe to say the Saints will have the first pick in the 2026 NFL draft. And again, I think Tampa Bay is going to absolutely blow people's socks off offensively. I like what they bring to the table on that front. Again, I'm almost missed his name, Bucky Irving. I kept trying to remember. It was like Tank. For some reason, Tank Bigsby kept coming in my head as the running back for the Tampa Bay Bucs. It's Bucky Irving, who, by the way, had a great season last year, gave Tampa Bay a real boost in terms of running the football. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.